A rich stranger pays me to run strange errands. His profile said he was 45, but he looked 30-something at most. I'm looking for a kept woman, paying $700 a week. No intimacy. It sounded too good to be true, but as a poor university student, I was willing to take the risk. I texted him. Within seconds, he texted me back. "Hi, sweetie." I grumbled at the word darling. I couldn't stand it, but $700 is $700 is $700. So I swallowed my displeasure and replied, "Hi." His name was Jack, and he said he had his own business, although he didn't specify which one. We chatted for a while before he asked for my details to send the first payment. A few minutes later, I saw the notification. I stared at that $700 for at least 20 minutes, expecting I was about to wake up and realize it was a dream. But it wasn't a dream. "Are you still there?" I clicked on the message. "Yeah, sorry. If it's no secret, what do you want in return?" I stared at the chat until he replied, "I just want you to run some errands for me." It sounded like it was about something intimate. "Like what?" "First thing I need you to do is pick up a package for me." It sounded harmless, but I was still expecting a catch. $700 to pick up a package? Come on. I'm not that naive. "From the post office?" "No. I'll send you the address, but I don't want to do it on Tinder. Do you have a Kik? Or you could give me your number." "Kik?" "Seriously. What are we, 2011? I decided to give him my number, and he immediately sent me an address, and then the address of his house where the package was to be dropped off. "I'm not home right now, but there's a key under the blue flower pot by the front door. Go inside and leave the package on the coffee table in the living room. Be sure to lock the door when you enter the house and lock it again when you leave." I grabbed my car keys and wallet, got in the car, and typed the address into Google Maps. Got it. I'm on my way. As I drove out of the yard, my phone vibrated. "I'm serious. Lock the door both times. Please." It seemed unnecessary, but I promised him I would. The house looked abandoned. There was a rusted mesh fence around it with a small door that was hanging on by its last legs. This one looked particularly untidy against the neat houses in the neighborhood. "You're after Jack's package, aren't you?" I looked up and saw a man standing in the doorway. He took up almost the entire space. His head was almost touching the top of the door jamb. He was really huge, tall, and pumped up, and his entire torso was covered in tattoos. Yeah, kind of," I replied, not stepping off the sidewalk. "Stay there," he said. I was standing. Honestly, I don't think I could have moved even if he'd asked me to. I looked around and realized that there was no one on the street. I'm a young 20-year-old girl standing alone on the street. Realizing this, I clutched my car keys tighter in my hand. A few minutes later, a man came out holding a cardboard shoebox-sized box. It had some stains on it and was damp in the corners. "Will you open the car?" he asked. I opened the trunk ajar, not wanting to put the box on the seats. So he put it inside. "That's it," he pronounced. "Thank you," I replied. I walked to the driver's side of the car and opened the door. "One more thing," he called out. I turned around. "Keep your eyes open," he said. I didn't say anything back. I turned on some loud music, hoping it would drown out my anxiety. But it didn't work. I parked in the stone driveway in front of Jack's house and sat in the car for a while, looking at his house. It was huge, with stone columns on the porch and the greenest grass I'd ever seen. I turned off the engine and got out of the car. I grabbed the box and walked to the front door, pulling the key out from under that very blue pot. I opened the door and walked in, closing it behind me. I remembered what he had said about me locking the door when I came in. It seemed unnecessary, but looking at the door, I suddenly felt like I really should do that. I turned the lock. I walked in. My feet immediately began to sink into the soft burgundy carpet, and I marveled at the interior. All the furniture was made of expensive and beautiful wood. For the money it cost to furnish this house, I could have gone to university a dozen times, if not more. I put the package on the coffee table. On my way back to the front door, I heard the phone ring somewhere in the house. I froze. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I pulled it out to look at it. Don't answer the phone unless it's Marvin. I put the phone away and headed toward the sound, peering into rooms. Finally found the phone in the study. I walked over to the desk and looked at the caller ID. Incoming call, Jack. This was weird. I looked at the message again. I felt uneasy and decided not to answer just in case. I quickly walked out of the house and locked the door. Since then, I had managed to run a few more errands for Jack. I drove the BMW to some park in another city, got out of the car, and came back in another car. He sent me to lunch with one of his employees who handed me a suitcase to deliver to that first house and told me he would know if I tried to look inside. Several times he asked me to go to the same house and stay with this guy named Julio for a while. In total, I made about $3,500. The last errand was to spend the night at his house. One morning I woke up to a text message. I need you to spend the night at my place. I never met him in person, but we spoke on the phone several times. He specified that he would pay me $1,000 for a night at his house, provided I followed a few rules. That same evening, I drove over to his place. As usual, the driveway was empty, but there was a porch light on. I went in, closed the door behind me, and locked it. Everything inside looked the same. Jack told me on the phone that he'd leave a list of rules on the dining room table. I dumped my stuff in the living room against the fancy furniture. My bags looked like some kind of trash. I walked to the kitchen, and then into the dining room. There, a piece of paper lay on the wooden table, clutched by an empty glass. Lock the door when you come in. Answer only calls from Marvin. Don't turn on the water between 9 and 11 at night. Don't open the door to anyone, whoever they identify themselves as, after 10 p.m. if the closet door at the end of the hallway is open. Sleep in the library. If it's closed, you can sleep in any bedroom. The gardener comes at midnight. If he starts banging on the windows, hide. Turn the TV on static and leave it on all night. Don't forget to do this under any circumstances. You can take whatever's in the fridge. I'll pay you in the morning. Good night. I decided to follow all the rules. To be honest, I was already regretting agreeing to it, but since I'm here and I'm going to get the money, I decided to stay. I figured if I followed the rules, it would be okay. But I still thought it was a little weird. What is this? A haunted house. Nevertheless, I sat in the living room for a couple hours, planning to go to bed by 9, since that's after that time, according to the list, is when all the weirdness started. At 8:50, I brushed my teeth, opening the water one last time before 9 p.m. I checked the hall closet. It was open. So I had to sleep in the library. I moved my things there and prepared to sleep on the couch. Just to be safe, I locked the doors and lay there, flipping through my phone. Jack hadn't texted me again, and I started coming up with theories as to why he had such specific and strict rules. At some point, I dozed off. But at exactly 10:16, I was awakened by the doorbell. I wanted to get up and see who it was, but I remembered the rule. Don't open the door to anyone, no matter who they say they are. After 10 p.m., I stayed on the couch, trying not to move, and paranoid that they might hear me. Police. Open the door. I didn't move. Hey, it's the police. Open up or we'll kick the door down. I still didn't move, even though my heart was pounding so hard it was thumping in my ears. There was silence after that. Then the doorbell rang again. Hey, it's Jack. Open up. The voice sounded a lot like Jack, but I still didn't get up. He must have a key, right? Why would he need me to open up? This went on for almost an hour. Different voices calling, introducing themselves as someone, and then disappearing when I didn't answer. I finally managed to fall asleep, but the gardener never showed up. When I woke up in the morning, I heard someone fussing in the kitchen. I got up slowly and quietly unlocked the door, grabbed my phone, and walked through the living room into the kitchen. I stopped on the threshold and looked inside. It was Jack. He was standing at the stove stirring something, with the coffee machine running on the countertop behind him. Hi. Good morning, he said when he saw me. Hi, I replied, nervous. I'd never seen him in person, but he looked exactly like he did in the pictures. Want some scrambled eggs? He offered, indicating with a wooden spoon towards the skillet. Yeah, thanks, I replied, walking over to him and taking a plate. I ate my breakfast and drank my coffee in silence. "So, how'd it go?" said I. "Great," he asked. "Fine, nothing too creepy," he replied. An awkward pause hung in the room. "I think I'll go. I have a couple classes today." I muttered. They didn't really have any, but I really wanted to go. "Oh yeah, sure. I'll see you another time," he replied. I grabbed my things, and he walked me to my car. I noticed him standing in the driveway, staring after my car until I drove away. When I got home, I unpacked and found that I still had my list of rules with me. I sat down on my bed and reread it again. Realizing that I had forgotten something, I felt a tension in my body. Turn the TV on static and leave it that way all night. Don't forget to do this under any circumstances. Turn the TV on static and leave it on all night. Never forget to do this. Never forget to do this. Never forget to do it. I stared at those words and stared at them until they no longer made any sense. The phone vibrating next to me brought me back to reality. I had been transferred the very same $1,000. I looked at the phone, then back at the list. Maybe it wasn't that important. While I was trying to make sense of it, another text came in from Jack. "I'm out of town right now. I'll be back next week. So no business for me for now. Just sent a payment. Have fun there." I stared at that message and reread it again, and again, and one more time, just in case. "I'm out of town right now." I remembered how he was at his house this morning, making me breakfast. "I'm out of town right now." A few minutes later, another text came in, this time from an unfamiliar number. "Forgot to do something?" Attached to the message was a picture of Jack or someone who was impersonating Jack standing in front of the TV. I didn't reply. Then came another picture. It showed my house from the outside. And then another message. "Keep your eyes open."